Shay here. In this video, I'll be showing you how to light your products better. Lighting is one of those difficult things, even for pros, and as a beginner, it even gets more difficult. Because with lighting, you can set the mood and you can tell your audience where to look at. It should also go without saying that bad renders can determine how your audience or your users will perceive your product, whether it was made by somebody who is a pro at their work or not. I have this product here and I've marketed this product as the golden perfume. And what we will try to do here is to recreate this in a different manner, a type of lighting that works, that sells this as the golden product. And I'll show you how I did that. Every scene has different ways of rendering them, and people have different ways of rendering their scene. But what I'm trying to show you here is how I worked on this and what you can learn from it and apply to your work. So the first thing we do in this scene is to ensure that this file is set to the right view transforms. I'll come to this scene here. I'll click on the render tab, right, and ensure that it is set to cycles, and because that's how you get more realistic renders. If you have a GPU, you can select the GPU. This would look different for you because I have a plugin enabled. And then you come down to this part. You come to your color management. Under view transform, let's set this to filmic. Under look, I select medium contrast because that's how you get those very contrasty look, those sharp looks. Now in world settings, you have to come here and check if you have any world lights. If you have world lights, which is something like this, set this to dark, completely dark, bring it to black. And then from this strength, you set to 0. Now I'm in this scene right now. I have my product already built, my model already made. What I'll do here is Shift A and add a collection instance. Now I have this product here, and what we're trying to say with this product, basically it's the golden product, and when we go to material view, you may not be able to see it, but there's some form of golden liquid in it. It looks white here and everything may look blank right now. But what do we do? And the first thing we do is we go to our render settings, rendered view, and this is what we have now. Nothing, it's just blank. What I'll do is add a plane behind this product, and then I rotate 90. Then I can move this to the back. I move it behind this object, so it's at the front. You can decide to center this if you want to, but I'll keep it there. Now we have this now. Now one technique you can do is to highlight and create some form of contrast. If you create the contrast between the background and the foreground, which is the object, people's eyes can be directed towards what's either not been lit or what's been lit differently. So what I'll do here is come back to rendered view and add a light. I add an area lamp here. So we have an area lamp here. We don't want to light this object yet. I'll come to the right hand side to the light settings, and I'll change this to rectangle. With the rectangle shape set, I'll reduce the lighting, make it thinner. I'd also move the both of them to the back by pressing G and Y because I want them to be behind that light. So what I'll do next is to make use of constraints. Now constraints are very powerful ways. I may go to them in a different video, but so constraints are powerful, right? They are features that enable you to, parent objects and copy, transform, or copy locations from other objects or some other properties that way. So what I'll do here is add a constraint to this object. I go to the right hand side, constraints, I click that, and I add the object constraint. I select track 2 because I want to track this light to this plane at the back. So I click track 2, and with this eyedropper tool, I'll come here and I'll select this plane over here. As you can see, this adds some drama to the scene. So what I'm doing here, I'm not letting it face it directly, but just give you some form of misdirection, if you want to call it that. I can make this thinner too, and as I move this light, as you can see, the reflection on the back is changing differently. I move this light this way, I can have some form of drama to it by moving and shaping it some type of way. If you want to add your camera to the scene, that's fine. So I'll add a camera to my scene so I can check where I can view this from. I already have the camera here. Typically, I'll set my focal point to a very high number. So I select this and I give like 190. So you see, as you can see, it gets very close. So you have to zoom out. I'm using my middle mouse button to zoom out. I want to see what's outside the camera area a little bit, so I'll check that icon and lock it back. Now you can move your camera as you want it. I have rendered one view, but I'll render another view too. So zoom in if you want to. So I have this camera set. I would also like this plane to fill the area, so I press S and scale it up. Next thing I'll do is give this area lamp some type of lighting, to create a golden effect. So I'll select the light. I'll change this area here to shader view. Now, if you don't know before, you can also add some material, some type of extra features material to your lights, apart from what you can see on the left here. So what we'll do here is select use nodes, and then shift A, I say mix color. And then I'll give this light some form of golden color, some form of orange, And the second one, I'll give some form of yellow, because we want to create that blended effect. So you connect the result, the yellow part here, to the color part. Right. As you can see on our scene here, something's already happening on the right hand side. And that's not enough. We look for layer weight. Layer weight. And we have layer weight here. What this layer weight does is to direct the lights based on how close that part is to the surface. So what I'll do is select this facing part, and this is blend part. And what's going to happen is that whichever part is closer to the surface gets either of the lights. As you can see right here, the part that's closer is getting part that's further getting lighter color. So what we'll do is invert this, and then invert color node. Enter. And as you can see now, the closer this object gets to the surface, the brighter it is. That's what we want. So let's set it like that. I'll leave the camera mode and also try to, move this. If it's not good enough for you, you can. But we need here some form of drama on the lights. Now the difference between lighting a glossy object and a diffuse and material object is that you can't directly place the light in front of them. I would like to do a different video about this, especially with light. It took me a long time to discover this, but if you light it directly, you're going to get very weird results. What we want to do here is to light this object indirectly. And how do we do that? And first thing you do is add a plane. Right, reduce the size of the plane, moving it out, GY, and I'll add an area light here. Light area. As you can see here, I go top view, press G, and I'll place the light directly onto the plane. I'll reduce the light so that it's not outwardly stretching over the plane. So I'll have it this way. Now this is how you should have your light set up. This is one of the ways you can light very glossy objects. So while this is happening, what I can do is you can either parent this together. You select both of them, shift, and then you parent object, keep transform has to be checked. Keep transform has to be checked. So what that does is that whenever I rotate this object, I get to rotate the light too. But the difference is here is that we are not, pointing the light directly at the object. What we are doing is controlling that light with the plane, and we are bouncing off that light from the plane and then bouncing it off to the object. So what we try to do is we try to position this plane here in such a way that it's looking at our object. So I press S to scale it down. As you can see, the lighting isn't that sharp, isn't that very harsh on it. Whenever the lighting is too much, you can take liberty to reduce, by reduce the lighting. You can reduce the lighting, and then the bounce is reduced. On this left hand side, you can see what we have here. So this is lit differently, and your audience eyes can be directed differently as well. So while you may have different styles of lighting your object, you can, make use of this quickly, and then what you have is way better. I can keep going with this by moving this light only to the top here so that the liquid in the object isn't affected. I can even rotate this. As you can see here. Yeah, only that part is affected. I can bring it down so that the logo there, the name of the object isn't seen. And also you can duplicate this. Select the two objects, both the light and the plane. Select both of them and bring them to the side. And then you can even track them. Use that tracking constraint and track them to the objects that you're trying to look at. So as you can see here, you can keep it out of the scene. And if somehow your object makes its way to the scene, you can go to this yellow part here and look for visibility. Under ray visibility, camera, and check that. And now you have the liberty to bring it onto the scene without being afraid of the object showing up on the scene. Now if we look at the right hand side, we have some of different lighting here. In fact, you can position this in different ways. This can ultimately determine the mood that you set for your object, but by having this right here, would have something better to work with. I'll render this out and I'll show you. Scene is rendered and it looks something like this. This was achieved using just two lights. The main light here, and the other light here. Your scene might require a different form of lighting, whether you want to directly point the light at the object. If your object has a more light absorbing material, that would be good for you to point the light at it. But glossy object, as you might have known, take light very seriously. They reflect everything, and we don't want that. As you can see, the surface of my object is lit, but it's not as sharp. The kind of sharpness you get by pointing lights directly at it. And that is how we set up this scene. So we have just those two lights. We have one here, and then one behind to create that effect. In fact, you can go as far as adding more saturation to this light, depending on how much you want this to go. You can add more saturation to this, go even redder. I can go redder, I can go add more yellow to the light, so my lights, and just to give them even more. As you can see on the left hand side here, you can see it gets more saturated. Don't be afraid to change the color of your lights depending on how you want your scene to be. So this has been what I've been trying to show you on how to light your products. It may not work for everything, but for the basic scenes with just one object and just one thing you want to show should work for you. So I hope you learned something from this video. Do like, subscribe, and engage with this video, and let me know if it works for you. Thank you.